Hello, everybody. Chuck Simpson here. I wanted to take you through a process that we use with our clients that, or at least part of the process that we call kill the bill. The reason we say that is because once the average consumer sees what the utility company is charging them for and all the nonsense that they add into your bill and have for years, they get frustrated, and it's easy for them to see that solar is certainly a better option. And if qualified, most do transition easily. Now, one of the things I want to say up first, this is my electric bill in the home that I currently live in from a year ago. You can see this is 2022. Now, somebody out there is thinking, hey, wait a minute, Chuck, you're in the solar business. What are you doing with an electric bill? Well, that's a great question, so I'll give you the short story. When I lived in Jersey and decided to move to Florida, I was married at the time. We moved to Florida, but never sold our house in New Jersey. It's currently rented to the same family long-term that moved into it when we moved out of it. We bought a house here in Orlando. And of course, fast forward, now that we're divorced, she lives there and I'm renting this home here. But I will say quickly, we are still really good friends, so there's no drama there. But that just is why I have an electric bill currently, because I'm renting this property. So now that I got that out of the way, let's take a quick look. Last year, a year ago this time, my utility bill, let's scroll up a little bit, was $106.17. Now, if you look at the bill itself, you can see I use 692 kilowatts, and the 12-month average usage at that time was 9736. So now that we see what I was charged, let's turn the page and take a look at the bill itself. Scroll down a little bit, right about here. And I like to make a joke usually and say, I went to school in Jersey, but I can certainly work a calculator, which I'll show you in just a minute how I got that formula so that you can do this for yourself and make sure you know exactly what you're paying for power, so that whether you allow us to give you an energy savings report or you're talking with another solar company, you'll have all the information or say ammunition you need to make sure that whoever you're talking to is telling you the truth and providing facts. So fast forward, let's take a quick look. The customer charge on this bill of $12.45 is what they charge me to connect my house to their grid. Now, that charge stays there. Your customer charge is the same even if you switch to solar and you don't buy power from them anymore. We do store it on their grid, so we have to still pay their customer charge, which is nominal by comparison to what they're charging you for the power. So let's take a look, slide down one more. The energy charge is $57.44, and that's exactly how much electricity I used, $57.44. Let's scroll down, and you see the fuel charge is $30.93. That's what they charged me to deliver that energy from their manufacturing facility, which right now I think they're pulling out of the state of Georgia down here, because we're basically at an energy shortage in the state of Florida, with all the families moving into Florida every day, every week, every month, every year. We have more and more stress on the grid and are struggling to provide power for all these people, which, not to get into a long story, of course, too much, but that's where there's grid failures and other issues and lots of drama that we can't do anything about. It's been like that forever. So with that said, I spent $57 on power. They charged me over 50% to deliver it to my house. And then there's this little charge here of $1.62 that they call asset securitization. Remember that, because I'm going to show you how simple that is on the next page, and how it's completely ridiculous that they can get away with it, but that's the way they do it. Scroll down a little bit more, you can see there's just over $10 in taxes and charges and fees on top of my $57 worth of power, is pretty much almost double to $113. So now that I explained all that, and you're looking at your own bill thinking the same thing, you can do this math program with me. So at $13.05 divided by 692 kilowatts, which is what I used for this billing cycle, you can see I paid just over 163 cents per kilowatt a year ago. Times that 97.36 that I have on an annual basis means if my power didn't slowly increase several times over the year, if it just remained the same, which we know it doesn't, I would have only paid about $1,600 for power that year. divided by 12 months shows you my average utility bill was $132.54. So that's the math program. You can do the same thing on your own bill. So now let's look at the next page. Page 3 of Duke's bill explains what that asset securitization charge is. Remember, I showed you that on the previous page. Now, as ridiculous as it is, if you're self-employed and you make a mistake, who pays for it? Well, you do, obviously. That's kind of a rhetorical question. But in this case, if you remember several years ago when Duke tried to buy the Crystal River nuclear plant, and what a cluster that was, I'm going to be kind with my explanation, but that nuclear plant had so much damage, they determined after they purchased it, which was a little late, that it wasn't worth fixing. So after they invested, probably hundreds of millions of dollars, they realized, oops, we can't do this. They scrapped the project. They went to the state and to the powers that be, and they say, hey, we made a big mistake. Do you think it would be all right if we charged our customers over time to get our money back from that bad investment? And what do you think the state said? Well, you have your answer. They were allowed to do that and just charge us even more over time to make up for their mistake. So as ridiculous as it is, that's the way they do it. So let's look at the next page. Now we're looking at my bill that I have due right now. This is a year later this year. You can see I used a little bit more power at 754 kilowatts. My 12-month usage went up a little bit because they drop off the last month and add the newest month, and it's always a running average based on your 12 previous months. But my point is $142.53 up from $113.05 last year. Not only did I use just a little bit more power, but it appears they're charging me a lot more money. So let's switch to the next page. You already know they are. And let's do that math program again. So now my bill you saw was $142.53 divided by the kilowatts I used of 754 shows you that my utility payment 1 year later per kilowatt is almost 19 cents, up from just over 16 cents. So obviously in that 12 months, they slowly creeped up almost 3 cents on me. Times the amount of kilowatts during that 12-month average means now I'm up to 1952.69 divided by 12 is 162.72 is my average bill this year, up from 132 something last year. But let's take a look at what that means in real money out of my pocket. You've got an extra $30 a month in average bills times 12 months. Again, it's simple math, is $362 extra they charged me over the last 12 months than what I was paying previously because they raised my rate almost 3 cents. So that's kind of ridiculous. But again, we don't have a choice when we move into a home who we're going to buy power from. You can either live in the backyard and not have electric at all. You can pay whatever the utility company services that area is, or you can convert to solar. And I'm sure you knew I was going to say that. So let's take a look at another example. This one goes back 2 years ago. I like to use this one for a couple reasons. As you can imagine, this gentleman, if you use the same math program that I showed you a moment ago, his average utility bill is $509.94. Now, obviously, he's using a whole lot more power than I am, but what I want to show you, 2 years ago, he was paying the 17.5 cents per kilowatt. A year ago, I was only paying just over 16 cents. So why is he paying so much more? Well, the simple answer is because that's the way they do it. But if you start to think, why would they do that? This guy is using 1,848 kilowatts during this billing cycle to my 692 or 754. He's using so much more power. Shouldn't he be getting a discount? Well, sure, everywhere else, but not with the utility company. The more you use, the more they charge you. And back to my point here, he lives in a very affluent area. I live in, let's say, middle America, and he lives in upper middle America in a very nice area in Ocoee. Homes are worth substantially more. His home, I believe, is like 700 and some thousand. But with that said, he lives in a much nicer neighborhood, which much more valuable homes. So the utility company says, hey, they must have the money. they don't really have a choice. So let's screw them and charge them a little bit more per kilowatt. So hopefully that annoys you, even though it's not your bill, just because it's not fair to charge somebody more money just because they might be living better or in a bigger house than some others, which is ridiculous. Okay, I made my point. So his average bill is almost $510. And we did help this family convert to solar. So 2 years ago, his bill went from $510 to a fixed payment of $285. His offset slightly exceeded 100%, which means he's 100% of his power is being produced on his roof, as you can see this diagram here. And he's no longer buying power from Duke Energy. So he's saving almost $225 a month, which if they didn't slowly increase it over time, means about $2,700 he saved his first year by converting to solar, by fixing his payment at $285. So my point is real simple. You can continue to pay the crazy rates through your utility company. You can go live in the backyard or live in your car and be stubborn, which I'm a little stubborn myself, but not that stubborn, and not pay anybody for power. Or you can convert to solar and save tens of thousands of dollars over time. So obviously, I'm more than happy, I'd like to say it right now, I'm more than happy to provide you with free energy analysis. Not everybody qualifies. Usually about 1 in 4 people between the home and or themselves will qualify for this program. And currently the government is still issuing a 30% tax credit for people that qualify here. And I'll explain that as I have on other videos if we end up providing this energy savings report for you. So what I'd like to say as I finish this video, hopefully this made sense. You remember the math program and you can check and see what your own average is and maybe what it was a year ago so you can see what's happening to you. And if you'd like some free information, please respond to me however you got this video, whether I emailed it to you or you're seeing it on YouTube or wherever you're seeing it on social media. And I'm more than happy to provide that information for you. And as always, thank you for listening. If you see that there's some value in this video, if you would please like and share it with your friends. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you would kindly subscribe to my station so I can continue to answer your questions and provide this information. I wish you a great day and I'll see you again soon. Thank you.